You just got yourself an interview. Congratulations! Someone thinks you look good on paper, but now you have to prove it, and I am here to help you with that. Hello and welcome. If you're new here, I am Jade, and this is my channel, Misskoko, where I, as an online presence specialist, help job seekers in the glam sector and small businesses get visible and get noticed. If that sounds like stuff you want to know more about, then make sure to click the subscribe button and ring the bell next to it so that you are notified of all future videos I upload. Alrighty then, let's get started. The interview is where most people stumble. They either become too nervous to effectively express their value, or they become a monochrome drone with absolutely no personality. And if you're like any other librarian in the world, you've probably already done some basic research on interview skills. Your search probably led you to believe that there's more information out there for library interviews in the UK or the US than there is here in Australia. There is one place online, however, that your search should have taken you. And if it didn't, I want you to Google right now ALIA SNIG, which stands for the Australian and Library Information Association's Student and New Grad Group. Find their Facebook, their Twitter, and their blog, and bookmark the lot of them. Overall, there isn't much out there on library interviews in Australia. So today I'm going to share some preparation and some in-interview strategies that you can use to ace that interview. Let's start with preparation. I want you to go and grab that position description you've been eyeing and flip over to the key selection criteria part of it. See all those dot points? I want you to write down at least 2 examples for each of them. Remember to structure your examples using the STAR technique, and that stands for situation, task, action, and result. Framing your examples this way will not only help you to, what's the word I want, articulate what you did, but also emphasize how you benefited the organisation. That's the result part. Once you have your examples written down, practice saying them. Use your common speech or like phrases you always say. The aim here is to feel comfortable vocalizing your examples, because once you hit your groove, you'll easily be able to weave those examples into your interview. You should already have a pile of research about the organisation from writing out your application. Go back over that research and draw out some of the key values of the library or organisation you're interviewing with. Let's use IATSES. Yeah, let's use IATSES as an example again. Got my computer just here. So, let me bring them up. Alright. Well, a quick look at IATSES website tells me they're a research and collecting institution. Ooh, and this is a direct quote from them. Set on raising awareness of the richness and diversity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and histories. So they value ethical research and cultural sensitivity. And now that I have those key values in mind, I can start framing some questions that I want to ask during my interview. If you're going for something like a project role, you could ask, how will the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities use the output of this project once I am done? Try and bring your questions back to whatever community you will be serving in that role. It always looks good to be aware of who your clients are and their needs. Plus, you'll get a sense of how much outreach your job will involve. Though if we're being honest, you're going for a role in a library, your whole role will be outreach, really. You may be wondering why I'm not just giving you a list of questions you could ask in your interview. Those lists are a dime a dozen and you can go and look them up yourself online. But I don't want you to ask why the position may be open or what your interview panel loves about their job. And certainly don't even mention benefits. It's bad form, very bad form. I want you to be different, and asking unique questions at the interview stage is one way to do that. Last few things. Before interview day, make sure you plan what you're going to wear. First impressions do mean a lot at the interview, so make sure you dress smart but comfortably. Also practice your greeting and your handshake and be aware of what your body does when you're nervous. During my first few interviews out of high school, I noticed I developed a restless foot and a uncontrollable shiver, which is not a good impression in an interview. Actually, I had one of my panelists ask me if I needed to lie down because I was shivering so much in one of my interviews. So my advice to you is to know what nervousness feels like for you. Because once you know, then you can develop strategies to manage it. On interview day, there are a few things you can do to combat nervousness and to ace that interview. I'm interested though, what do you take into an interview with you? Write it in the comments below. But at bare minimum, I would suggest that you take a copy of your job application, a copy of their position description, and a notebook and pen. Use the key selection criteria questions to trigger the examples you practiced. Use your application to remind yourself what you've already written and what they already know about you. Use the notepad to jot down any questions that they ask you throughout the interview. Some of those questions will be multiple parts, and because you'll be nervous, it can be easy to forget parts of the question. We also tend to speak a lot quicker when we're nervous, so remember to slow down. But really, all you need to remember is once you've made it to the interview stage, all they're doing is seeing if you'd be a good fit. So let's recap. What are some strategies you can use to ace that interview? Number one, do your research. By the time you get to the interview, you should know so much about that library that you could advocate their services to a stranger at the train station. Number two, practice out loud. When you practice things out loud, it solidifies the information in your brain and even gives you a distinct memory to call upon, making recall awesome, even if you're stressed. Number three is to calm down. You will be feeling nervous, so take some steps to combat that. Do some deep breathing exercises or make yourself some chamomile tea. Double check you have everything you need before you leave the house, and when you get there, duck into the bathroom and do a couple of Wonder Woman poses. And remember, you are awesome. And you are. You got yourself an interview and you are going to do just fine. I hope this video has been helpful and given you something to think about when it comes to preparing for and acing that interview. Stay tuned because my next video will be about your first day on the job and how to work it. Remember to be curious and div to be